Hello, in this video we will see how the ionic crystals like salt and ACl dissolve in water. An ACl, positive ions and negative ions, is attracted by strong ionic bond. Let's notice what happens when salt dissolves in water. Water is approaching the ions now. Water, as we can see, is carrying partially positive charges, and the oxygen represented by the red balls is carrying partially negative ones. The partially positive charges of water are approaching to the green negative balls, as you can see. And the red partially negative charges of water are approaching to the positive ions, since the positive charge ions attract negative charge ions and vice versa. Look at the movement of the water molecules. The positive ions are approaching to the negative ions, and the negative ions are approaching to the positive ones. So, lattice is surrounded now by water. Now, partially negative charges of water are pulling the positive ions of the lattice. Thus, the lattice is starting to decompose and dissolve, and the ions are spreading in water. This process doesn't take a long time. It usually dissolves quickly. On the side of the solution, what do we notice? The positive ions are surrounded in all directions by the partially negative ions of water. It becomes hydrated, which means all directions of the ions are surrounded by water. The same on the other side of the solution. The positive ions are surrounded by the partially negative ions of water. The water molecules are starting now to go inside the lattice. Notice, please, the negative ions are approaching and pulling the positive ions. Look at what's going on. A negative ion is surrounded in all directions by the partially positive hydrogen atom. This process is called hydration. Finally, the lattice disappears and dissolves. The positive charges of the lattice are surrounded by the partially oxygen negative atom, and the negative charges of the lattice are surrounded by the partially hydrogen positive atom. Thus, the lattice is completely dissolved. There are no ions being dissolved now. At the beginning, we needed energy to break the ionic bond among the lattice. This energy is called lattice energy. After lattice separates from each other, the water surrounds the ions, so energy is released. This energy is the same as the energy when we have broken the ionic bond in the lattice. This energy is called enthalpy of hydration.